Welcome to Wilderness Park in Columbus, Nebraska. Boys District Soccer final action between two local teams, Columbus Scotus and Columbus High. Brandon Axford alongside Grant Otten. Thank you so much for joining us here on News Channel Nebraska for this live broadcast. John Kipper also will be joining us later as we have a good one. Second-ranked Columbus Scotus, fourth-ranked Columbus High, and they are clashing on the soccer pitch for a district championship. Grant, Columbus comes in at 13-3 on the season. Columbus Scotus 13-2, and oh, by the way, the two-time defending state champs. Just going to play out in front of it. It's going to be a good one.
I'm excited. We haven't seen these guys face off each other since the beginning of the year, so it's going to be interesting to see how far they have come.
Taking a look at key players, starting off with the Discover's Gilberto Rodriguez, the leading goal scorer for the Columbus with 8 goals. He also has 3 assists, and he had the winner against Norfolk Catholic in the district semifinal match to advance the Discover's to this game by a 1-0 scoreline. They're going to need a big game out of him. He helps control the midfield, and he is a big vital part for the cog for this offensive attack for Columbus.
Yeah, that middle midfield is going to be big for this team. Tarango, you talk about Espino, you talk about Rodriguez, all those big guys, Pedraza. Just going to be important that they play at their top match because the Scotus team is no joke.
And Columbus Scotus, the player to look out for, one of 5 captains, Jake Boss, the senior as well, many on this team. He has 15 goals as well as 10 assists. He is also in the midfield and also very, very good. As we saw, he had a firing header in that semifinal match, and there's really nothing he can't do.
Well, it just makes it that much easier for that back line, but Shohan's really got it good because that back line of Pelster, Kumpf, all those guys, Dotson, Brandenburg, it's just crazy how good this defense is. It's going to be a big defensive game. The offense is going to need to step up on either team for whichever one is going to come out victorious. And
of course, being two Columbus schools, they're very familiar with one another, and they met back in mid-March, the very first week of this soccer season. John Kipper had a chance to catch up with Discover's head coach, John Arlt, and get his thoughts on the upcoming district final.
Here with CHS coach John Arlt before the game. And coach, obviously you guys met earlier in the season. You guys fell to Scotus, but obviously you're a very, very different team at this point in the year. How have you guys improved over the past couple months?
Well, for one thing, we've definitely improved on the defensive side. When we played Scotus before, 2 of the guys weren't playing defense that are now, and so we've definitely improved on the defensive side of the ball. But we know Scotus has improved too. But yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is on our defense. Our back line has been pretty solid for us since we got into this group.
Sure. We were talking earlier, and obviously the weather is a little bit different than what we've experienced all year. It's a little bit hot today. So how does that change the game a little bit?
Well, I don't think it's going to change it too much. You know, guys may need to hydrate, obviously, but they should have been doing that a couple days ago. But we may need to sub them out earlier to begin with. But once they get in the flow of the game, I don't think it's going to be a big issue at all.
All right. Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
So Coach Arlt knows the task that is in front of him. It's no easy one. Only 2 teams been able to beat the Shamrocks thus far, but the Discovers hoping to make it loss number 3.
Yeah, they definitely played a tough schedule this year, and so they've played enough. They've played well enough to come into this game to at least think they have a chance of coming in here and disrupting Scotus. They've improved a lot since the beginning of this year, so it's going to be exciting to see how this turns out and see how far this Discover squad has come.
And of course, another team that's improved is the team they're facing, the Shamrocks, currently on a multi-game winning streak, haven't lost since over a month ago back in Omaha. And Coach Brzezinski and his team is very well aware of all the high stakes as they're the 2-time defending champs, and this game is no different as Coach Brzezinski talked to John Kipper about how his players are feeling for the final.
Here with Scotus coach John Brzezinski now. And John, obviously you guys were able to play each other earlier in the year, and I asked Coach Arlt a similar question. How have you guys improved over the past few months?
Well, I think we're playing a little bit better defense. Our attacking's picking up the pace where we want it to be, and our possession game's starting to click a little bit. So we're going to need all 3 of those today to beat those guys. So hopefully we get it done.
Yeah, obviously CHS has had a pretty good year. I guess what is the key to victory? What are you guys really focusing on today?
Well, we just got to be solid defending. That's kind of our motto the whole year. You know, our defense has been pretty good. We got to limit their opportunities. We got to play good team defense. You know, not even the individual part of it. You know, they're very individually skilled, especially those 2 midfielders. We got to be able to contain those guys and then take advantage of our opportunities when we get them. We got to be able to quick counter on them, and when we get shots, we got to be able to put them away.
All right, Coach. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, John. We have a great one coming up for you here at Wilderness Park. Columbus Scotus and Columbus High clashing in the district final shortly here on News Channel Nebraska. And by shortly, I mean right now, 2 seconds into the contest, we are underway in the B6 district final. And we've been waiting for this one for a while, Grant. This is exciting. Both teams obviously having to win in the semifinals to get here. Columbus, of course, defeating Norfolk Catholic, and Scotus handily defeating Schuyler, a top team, 3-0 to advance here.
And we knew Scotus was going to be good coming into this match and going into that Schuyler match as well. And they're showing they're playing that top-tier ball like we expected them to. Now, Columbus High, of course, a big match for them because as far as most people are concerned, Scotus is probably the second or if not the best team in the state still. They had that hiccup earlier in the year in the St. Ignatius Cup, but they're really playing great soccer right now. But Columbus High is too. They're doing some really good things, and they've obviously improved from the beginning of the season when we had a lot of question marks about them. So this is going to be an exciting one, I think, and hopefully both teams are playing to their potential.
Both of these teams extremely battle-tested. 13-3 for the Discoverers, 13-2 for Columbus. Scotus, as the Shamrocks, their last 5 contests have been against ranked foes. 2 of those against Schuyler, but 2 ranked Class A opponents in Omaha Central and Omaha West Side. The top team actually rated in the state when the Shamrocks beat them over the weekend by a score of 1-0. Although Columbus High comes into this district with higher in the amount of wild card points, which gave them the top seed in this district.
Yeah, and you look at Scotus' schedule, like you said, in that St. Ignatius Cup. Again, we bring that up all the time, but that blemish on their schedule is what really people doubt their abilities to be this good, I think, because of those 2 and losing to Pius, a team that they beat 8-1, I believe, like 2 or 3 days before they played in that tournament. So they're just, and if you get a chance to watch them, you can understand how talented they are and how good they are. Columbus High, though, again, no joke, and if Scotus, as they attack again, can break down that midfield. You talked about Rodriguez as one of your key players, and of course those other guys in Tarango and Pedraza and Espino. That's going to be a really big key to this game, I think. Coach Brzezinski mentioned it when John was talking to him. You mentioned it. That was something I was thinking, so that's something to keep your eye on as we go through this game.
You see the Shamrocks threatening early on as Oshtik almost got a goal on. Daniel Melendez, 103 saves with that one, as he is going to be busy here this afternoon, you have to think. Of course, Evan Shohan, he has just 57 saves this season, and that's because of that formidable back four the Shamrocks have that really don't have Shohan get called upon too much because they never let it get to that point.
And you look at this Columbus High frontal attack, you talk about this offense, that's definitely a big difference between them and Scotus. Is Columbus High doesn't have that one prolific scorer. I would say they have a lot of guys that contribute, but they just don't have that prolific guys. So it'll be interesting to see if they can step up, get some goals here today, and who's going to do that.
So taking a look at the starting 11 for the Discoverers, who have a free kick upcoming. Melendez and goalkeeper Adabo, Arcos, Esch, and Strong making up the back line. Jason Marino, the freshman in that midfield alongside Rodriguez, Lopez, and Tarango, as that free kick is sent out, and Pedraza also starting at the top of the attack for Columbus High. Now the Shamrocks looking to counter here. Caleb Oshtik with it. Anthony Cush running in the middle as Oshtik sends it flying. Nathan Oshtik on the other side of it, but goes out of bounds harmlessly as we take a look at the starting 11 for the two-time defending state champs. Of course, Evan Shohan, the man in between the sticks, the back line of Dodson, Kumpf, Pelster, and Brandenburg, who have not given up more than one goal in a contest all season. Jake Boss, both the Oshtiks, as well as Harrington and Foltz, a part of that midfield, and Anthony Cush, the spearhead of the attack for the Scotus starting 11.
Talk about the weather out here, too, and there is almost 0 to maybe 1 or 2 mile per hour wind right now, which is something we've only seen one other time this year, and that was on Monday when we were doing that opening round play-in game of Lakeview versus Lincoln or Lutheran Northeast out of Norfolk. And it's, like I said, in those games, exciting because then you're really going to have the best team kind of come out on top because you're not going to have a wind advantage and it's not going to have too big of effect on the game. So that's just something really exciting, and we're really blessed as we get to our potentially last broadcast here of the year to have these great weather conditions.
You see Scotus once more threatening, that time Alec Foltz on the attack. Great reflexes by Melendez to get down and stop that shot. 75 degrees at kickoff here at Wilderness Park. Pretty much the polar opposite of the last time we had these two teams live on News Channel Nebraska. For all you faithful soccer fans that have been watching this season, you'll remember the opening weekend of this season when these teams met in the Scotus Invite Championship. It was sleeting, it was snowing at times, it was raining, and it was probably below 20 degrees with the wind chill, and it was slightly miserable.
I would say hailing almost too. It was getting so big, but man, it was not near as nice as it is now. We were bundled up and battling like all the fans that came out and the players as well to try and just get through the game and to bring that coverage. And now it is a lot more relaxing to be out here.
Here comes Scotus once more. Cush on the attack. Strong slide tackle by Arcos, who Coach Arlt is happy to have back in the starting lineup. He missed the semifinal due to a red card. Also, Tyler Strong, a part of that starting back line, did not play because of some issues in that semifinal. He is back in the starting 11.
Yeah, some really big pieces to have in that back area in that defense, and they make just such a critical part of it. Like you said, Arcos is just really a life to this defense. When you look at that back line, very battle-tested, a senior, very veteran, and he's a fun kid to watch this year. We actually saw him very early on score that goal from like almost half field, I believe, on a free kick, and that's something we saw Jake Boss do as well, so we could see some potentially interesting free kicks this afternoon, and a lot of talented free kickers and place kickers on both squads.
Referencing the first time these two teams played, it was a 2-0 victory for the Shamrocks. Boss was the goal scorer alongside Cole Harrington, who has 3 goals on this season, and that, of course, in those wintry conditions, you wonder how that will open up play with the perfectly beautiful weather and how much that would either hurt or help Columbus High. One thing talking to Coach John Brzezinski was he felt his Shamrock players, especially in that first half, played more of the Discoverers style as Columbus was playing more physical and pushing or playing just more strongly, and Scotus sort of molded to their game plan, and Coach John Brzezinski wasn't happy about that and doesn't want that to be the case here today.
Yeah, Columbus is a very physical team. They are a big team, just like Scotus. Scotus is a lot bigger than some of those smaller schools they play against, and that's what a lot of coaches you talk to on other teams are afraid of. But we talked about free kicks a little bit. I'll see like Jake or Harrington going to send one in here.
This was roughly the distance that Boss made it from last time, as he's going to pass this one off, and instead Jason Marino, the freshman, seeks it out and sends the ball forward, searching for Tovar. Bailey Pelster, one of the center backs for the Shamrocks, will drop it all the way back to Shohan.
Pelster always the guy in that back line defending those counters when they come off of those free kicks or penalty kicks, and he does such a great job when teams are able to send it back down. He's just so quick. We saw that during the football season as a running back. His ability to move quickly and on command is pretty impressive. Kumpf and Brandenburg, 2 of those guys back there we talked about as well. Kumpf, a really big piece to this defense. Brandenburg, that state championship caliber wrestler who is quite the athlete as well.
Pedroza with it for the Discoverers. Strong defense by Oshtik. Caleb Oshtik wins the ball back, but is called for a foul, so a free kick upcoming for Columbus High. We talked about the losses that the Shamrocks have that weekend against Pius and Scott. When you look at the Discoverers, of course, that first loss to Scotus to start the season, but their second loss was against North Platte in the GNAC semifinals as Strong sends the ball into the box, and that won't bother Shohan. That was a game that you could argue Discoverers should have came out on top of. They gave up a late goal to force overtime and then fell in a shootout. And besides that one, they went to Kearney, which is a tough road trip out west against a Class A foe, and fell 2-0. The point trying to make, though, the Discoverers are no slouches, obviously, with a record of 13-3.
Yeah, and you look at that North Platte game, very easily could have been a win. They could be 14-2, and you mentioned this in the last broadcast as we watched that Norfolk Catholic game, because it seemed like a similar situation where they played Norfolk Catholic too. You had those late goals to tie it up, and that's the same thing with Norfolk Platte, those late goals to drop that loss. And so it's going to be interesting, but that's something they like to do. They like to get late goals themselves, and we saw them do that against Crete when we did that opening broadcast, as well as some other games that we didn't broadcast. So it'll be interesting to see how this one comes out. They're a very resilient team too, and so that's going to make things tough for the Shamrocks.
Entering the 10th minute of play, 0-0 here between these two Columbus schools. The B6 district final. Shamrocks breaking. Anthony Cush running on. Gets a foot on it as Melendez comes out. And that will go out of bounds for a goal kick.
Coach Brzezinski asking for a foul there, and of course that would have been a penalty kick as well, so that would have been a big break for the Shamrocks. Not that they need it, but definitely helps to be able to get some penalty kicks in the mix, but it's going to be a goal kick instead.
2 substitutions coming in for the Discoverers in Brabeck, as well as Jesus Adame checking in.
And one thing really impressive about Scotus, even though they are a pretty big team, you talked about how Columbus High was able to get them out of their element in that first game, and You wonder, well, since they're so big, what is their element? They're just so good at passing with each other and kind of playing around teams, and it's not all about one guy taking, although Foltz is one of those guys that has that ability when he gets in trouble down there to kind of weave through guys to open up a goal, but they really are playing at their best when they're exchanging it between guys, attacking those sidelines and sending in those corners.
And just a huge advantage the Shamrocks team also has over opponents. They won a state championship 2 years ago with this core of their group being sophomores, and of course last year as juniors, so they've been playing together not only in high school, but in club, in middle school, even as far back as elementary school, talking to the coaching staff for Scotus. It's just they have this understanding with one another. They know where each other is going to be because of the chemistry they've developed over the years, not only in high school, but years prior.
Well, you talk about those younger years when you talk about club soccer and AYSO, talking to Coach Brzezinski and Coach Arnold especially too, he was just adamant about how impressive it is to have the kind of program and how it speaks about those programs that you have these competitive teams here playing. You have 5 of the 6 teams are going to go play in sub-state. That is not something you see very often in really any part of Nebraska in a secluded area, especially like Columbus, where unlike most schools, most towns, you have 3 schools in the same area. And then, of course, you talk about Lincoln and Omaha and those kind of schools. But just the fact that Columbus has this strong of a group of soccer players growing up from that AYSO and those club soccer leagues, it really says something about the passion and the success of those programs.
Of course, we have yet to mention that Columbus and Scotus girls are taking place on the field behind us as well, also in the district championship, and John Kipper is keeping tabs on that contest and will be providing updates, as you mentioned, all the teams that will be playing in sub-state on Saturday, the majority of them hosting. Columbus High boys will be hosting, Scotus for sure will be hosting, Schuyler, who's not a Columbus team but is in the area, they'll be hosting sub-state, and of course, you have the Lakeview girls who've had a great season by some of their freshmen, Gracie Bohr leading the way, and the Scotus girls, of course, hosting, and Columbus High girls, that's yet to be determined. But all of those teams, 5 of the 6, like you mentioned, making it to sub-state and a chance to punch their ticket to state after Saturday shakes out.
And you talk about, you might as well throw Schuyler in there too because they're so close, and they've been a blast to watch this year. But so I suppose you could say 6 of the 7, or 6 of the 8, unfortunately, Schuyler girls. But it's really impressive to see that. And you talk about the Schuyler girls and Lakeview boys, they've shown some signs of really good play this year. Both teams have some really talented players, just weren't quite able to plug in enough of the pieces to get those things moving forward, but they were a blast to watch this year too.
So thus far, nearing the 15-minute mark, Scotus, of course, having the better chances. You wouldn't necessarily say they've had a complete goal-scoring opportunity they've missed out on, but they've been creating much more, 3 to 4 shots on goal, where Melendez has had to come off his line on a few occasions, as the Discoverers have a free kick from midfield, send it into the box. So far, Shohan is yet to really be tested whatsoever.
And even with that, it's surprisingly more goals he really has had to contest. He's had to grab like 2 or 3 that he got sent in, although they weren't extremely tough ones. But the fact that he's touched 2 or 3 balls already is more than he's touched in most of the games they've played, because that back line is just so strong that most teams can't even crack to get past it.
Of course, talking to Coach Arlt, asking me, hey, what are the keys to the game? What do you need to do to get a win here today? And he says, it's an obvious one, but we need to score a goal. Of course, Columbus High, Scotus, has not given up more than 1 goal this whole season in any of their matches. So you have to think, at best, you can only concede 1 goal. You hope you get one yourself, get into overtime, potentially shootout. You never know what happens, but if the Shamrocks get that 2-goal mark, the Discoverers are going to have to do something that no team has been able to do yet this year, which is put up at least 2 against them.
And we've discussed that, on multiple of these forums that we have to talk about soccer. And when we talk about the Geo Show, when we get a chance to talk a little bit about it there, but Columbus High doesn't have that prolific score. They balance it out quite a bit. It just kind of depends. You really don't know who's going to step up and get that goal. For Scotus, and you have guys that can really take control, and they're just so dangerous because every single guy that's in that front court or that front part of the field, they're a danger to score. They're somebody you got to look out for. So that's really the difference. But Columbus High's defense is so strong, just like Scotus is. It's a pretty good match. So that's a good thing for them. But they do need somebody to kind of step up and knock one in. And they got some guys that can do it. It's been inconsistent this year. You don't know who it is.
Of course, Coach Arlt said the other big thing is he feels the Discoverers need to win the midfield battle or at least split 50-50 on it. Of course, he said that's the strength of this Scotus team as well, because there's really no weakness. The back line, the midfield with Boss, the 2 Oshticks, Harrington, and Foltz as well. And then you have Cush as the lone forward in this 4-3-3. And the Shamrocks threatening right now, a chance to send this one across the box. And Discover's not out of trouble yet. Shot goes in and over the crossbar by Harrington. But that's the other thing Coach Arnold said his team needs to do, dictate that midfield. You have guys, we already talked about it, Boss 15 goals, Foltz 13 goals, Cush 12 goals, and they're both of them between Foltz and Cush have double-digit assists as well. Boss not far behind with 9, just so much offensive attacking power, as on the other end, Gilberto Rodriguez is your leading goal scorer with 8.
Yeah, and you talk about some other guys for Scotus and Nathan Oshtek and Dotson even scoring a couple goals on Tuesday. So really a lot of guys that are good at ball handling. You see Kumpf every once in a while step up, try and make some moves here and there. So it's just really deadly. And Gilberto Rodriguez, that kid's been a blast to watch throughout this year. You know, you're talking about Arcos and some of those guys. On top of that, Tarango's been really talented. And Pedraza even has done a good job of sending some in from decently far out. You know, it doesn't seem like he'll kick one at the goal unless he's at least 20 feet away from it. So he's a guy you need to be wary of when you look at a little bit farther out. Then, of course, Brabeck sometimes sees a little less minutes than some of those guys. He kind of exchanges in and out, but he's done a great job stepping up here and getting more play time as of late.
You mentioned Rodriguez with the 8 goals. Pedraza is the second leading goal scorer with 7. And after that, it falls back to Luis Tovar and Luis Ruiz, who each have 5 goals for the Discoverers as they try to break here. The freshman Moreno with it currently has to fall back after Boss gets in front of him.
Moreno, that young freshman that has really been doing some good things and likes to get out in the open field and run around a little bit and has some pretty good ball handling skills. He's going to be a fun guy to watch, assuming he plays the next 3 years, as we hope he does. He's going to be a fun guy to watch throughout these next couple of seasons. He's a very talented young kid.
Free kick awarded to the Shamrocks. Foul on Columbus High. Shohan takes it. Harrington, one of the captains, turns on Adame. And Shamrock throw.
Something we end up talking about too. So many Luises on this team, and every single one of them seems to be a key cog in the wheel that is the Discoverers' attack. So I wonder how coach is able to keep all of them straight. You talk about Velazquez, Tarango, Lopez, or Arcos, excuse me, Tovar, and Ruiz. You talked about a lot of those goal scorers and top guys. A lot of talented dudes. Luis must just be a good name, and a talented name, I guess, here in Columbus High.
Well, the Shamrocks threatening off that throw from Oshtik. Discoverers clear it out of danger. As you might expect, plenty of fans lining that far side of the field, getting out and enjoying the weather, because this is a rare opportunity out here at Wilderness Park. The warmest day we've had, and also very little wind.
Definitely prime conditions, and this is you know, even if you're just going out to sit on the beach for a little bit, this is about as good as it gets.
Well, another chance to send this one in for the Shamrocks. Free kick upcoming.
We've already seen Arcos kick one. Now Jake Boss with an attempt.
Sends it in. Melendez got a hand on it, knocked it out of danger, but not entirely yet, as now a corner kick's coming.
If you watch that Scotus Schuyler game, Harrington sent in 5 of these in a row, but they were eventually able to score. Not sure if that'll be the same case here, but nonetheless, Scotus very good from these set plays.
Ball sent in by Harrington. Cleared away by Strong. All of the Shamrocks' goals against the Warriors in the semifinal, in fact, coming from set pieces. It was Harrington who found Boss off a corner kick to get the scoring started.
So a little bit of mishandling. Well, I shouldn't say mishandling. There's some strong defense, as well as just it's a good competitive matchup right now. Both these teams playing really hard, and it will be interesting to see if this heat has any effect, if we get anybody cramping up when we get later into that second half, because it's a little bit warmer than we have seen the rest of the year, even on these practice days, not only game days, but just in general. It's a little bit warmer out today. And I tell you what, I'm sweating a little bit too, and we're just sitting outside. We got little bit of the breeze in the face. We're not even running around, but it is that sun is out today.
Rodriguez and Tarango check in for the Discoverers, and Adrian Gonzalez recently coming in for the Scotus Shamrocks. Be interesting to see you talking about the heat. Columbus High with the whites, Shamrocks with the blacks. Science class, they always taught us the black absorb the heat, makes you hotter, white reflects it. So depending on that second half, you never know if we got a close game how that will affect endurance.
Yeah, it will be interesting, and it's something maybe you don't really think about, but it is something I guess you'll chew on a little bit when you talk about how warm these guys might be getting. I guess they got the white shorts though, so maybe that keep the lower body cool, but they got the black socks too, so we'll see if that comes into effect. If we see a bunch of Scotus guys cramping up, maybe that's the reason.
Well, Spenceri checking in for the Shamrocks. Enrique Adabo back in for Columbus High, the sophomore defender, relieving Jesus Adame. They've seen Nathan Oshtick, 12 goals and 5 assists on the season as a junior, also giving a short reprieve.
Oshtek mentioned a little bit, but Adame, another one of those very talented kids, does some good things. He maybe not have as many goals as a lot of those guys up top, but is a very talented guy that really adds a lot to this team.
Well, Discoverers with some bodies forward. Ball sent back into the box. Brandenburg attempts to clear it. Headed away by Harrington. Shot from way out by Strong. And foul called against the Discoverers. You see just how strong Jackson Kumpf is. Was not too bothered by that tackle.
He's a big kid, a very talented defender, and we know he's a very defensive-minded player. Really in all the sports that he plays, but showing off a little bit of the strength. We know he's got the height and some physical play. That we know that's how Columbus High likes to play physical with a lot of their opponents, and that's really going to be a key too if they can get Scotus kind of out of their element. You can see the tackle there as he just powers through.
And there's another hard collision. Strong and Harrington colliding. Coach Arlt not enjoying the call. Coach Brzezinski, of course, thinking it's a great call. Both players going for the ball on that one, but official says free kick Shamrocks.
This one's going to be Jake Boston in this one, and some good contact. You could hear this one all the way over here on the sideline. And not a good thing if you're Discoverers. It's a good opportunity for the Shamrocks, though, with Jake Boss kicking this thing. We've seen him curve it pretty heavy. He's a pretty talented kid at placing it.
Chipping this one into the box. And that'll go out. It'll stay with the Discoverers for a throw.
And not something you need to worry about yet, but I do always enjoy it when he just attempts for the goal because he does such a good job, like I said, of bending that thing. We saw him curve like no other the other day. That thing really just kind of twisted and spun all over the place.
And even more surprising than the curve on the shot was the fact that Gonzalez for the Schuyler Warriors actually saved it.
Yeah. Gonzalez, he's a fun kid to watch too. He is a goalie that is doing a lot of good things for that Schuyler team, and he's had an impressive year.
Shot from way out by Luis Tarango, that well away from the goal for a goal kick for the Shamrocks. And Alec Foltz checking in for Scotus, also 2 for the Discoverers in Moreno and Tovar.
And already getting into that about 24.5 right now minutes, so this one going pretty fast, or seemingly going fast. Obviously, it goes no faster than any other one, but it is it's a good matchup right now. These teams, two teams really going back and forth, and it's not been a lack of teams attacking, both at least getting the ball kicked in the goalie's direction multiple times.
Shot comes in by the Discoverers, goes over once more for another goal kick. Doesn't happen a lot.
No handball there, but Scotus going to get a chance to attack.
Ball sent into the box. Folt is there, gets a head on it. Now a shot by Harrington, goes off the crossbar. And the Shamrocks not able to get a goal there. Just about as close as you could have come. Counter now by the Discoverers. Coach Arlt wanting a foul, and he gets it this time. Free kick for Columbus High.
And man, just a physical game right now. You can see the players kind of getting into a little bit of shoving match there. Up at the top, Bailey Pelster. But the guys just, is a physical match as you would expect between these two teams.
Marino with it for the Discoverers as he tries to find Tovar. Cannot keep it in. Throw quickly taken to Foltz. And this contest getting more and more physical. Strong tackle there by Brabeck. Excuse me, Esch.
And you can hear some of the coaches yelling at the refs saying, get the game under control, Blue. And as you can see, the refs, officials are wearing blue, but unless you start getting some fouls or anything, and you're going to get one there, Jake Boss going to get the free kick. He didn't touch that ball, but unless you start getting any calls, it's just going to continue to imagine getting physical, more and more physical.
Saw the strong tackle there by Strong getting in Jake Boss's way. Brzezinski wanting a card. Not going to get it this time as Cole Harrington gets ready to take the kick.
And emotions always get heated in these rivalries, especially these crosstown ones. I've been involved in a Lakeview football and basketball game, and it was always pretty intense. Emotions got pretty high because there's just, it seems, pride is more on the line than usual, just as you talk about your fellow Columbusites or whatever you want to call them in the match, and it's kind of which school is best.
Discover player, looks like that is Strong. Currently needing to regather himself. And we'll take a quick break here on News Channel Nebraska, as so we're getting a little bit of a water break as well. We'll be back shortly.
Welcome to Tessendorf Chiropractic on Highway 30 in Columbus. We work with all area student athletes to ensure maximum performance and treat patients with neck, back, and joint pain. As an allied healthcare provider associated with the Columbus Community Hospital, we are committed to diagnose and treat your full body health. Come see why we are consistently voted the best of Columbus. Visit Tessendorf Chiropractic today so we can get you back on the court and back into life.
Home Real Estate is an all-star team of realtors who are ready to work for you. They work tirelessly to sell your home or find the right home to suit your needs. Give any one of their agents a call today. Home Real Estate, serving Columbus and the surrounding areas.
And welcome back to Wilderness Park. Official sanctioned water break just got over. Strong appeared to be okay for the Discoverers. Both teams are rehydrated, and we're back in action. 0-0 here in the district final between Columbus Scotus, the #2 team in Class B, and Columbus High, the 4th-ranked team. Scotus threatening once more. Ball in the box. Caleb Oshtick battling with it against Arcos. And things are getting more and more physical, Grant, as this game goes on. We're still in the first half.
Yeah, roughly in that 30th minute, but it's still going to be a decent amount of stoppage time, as you talked about that water break right there and that little sort of injury break, pseudo-injury break. Probably a good thing to call that water break, not only to hydrate these kids, because as we mentioned, it is very warm out here, but maybe to help cool them down a little bit as this game was getting pretty physical, give the chance to the coaches to talk to them a little bit. I don't know if that was the intent, but we'll see if that has any effect. It looks like it's still going to be a pretty physical match.
Corner sent in, headed out by Arcos for the Discoverers. Sent into the box again. So far, the Discoverers dealing with the danger. Brandenburg with it. One back by Columbus High. Rodriguez running on, and Bailey Pelster there once more. Shamrocks not out of trouble yet. Ball back to Rodriguez. Cuts it inside. And way too much on that one as he tried to find his two players that were in the box.
And a very difficult shot to do. Cross back to that left and send it over top, but that might have been one of their better chances. If he could have sent that in just a little softer, they had a couple players, a couple forwards there that would have potentially been able to try and head that in. It looked like Jesus Adami was up there, and a couple of those guys, and as well as Luis Tovar.
Ball won back by the Discoverers. Rodriguez to Moreno. Now Tarango. And Boss wins it back. Foltz with it currently for the Shamrocks. Kush running on. No worries. Boss finds Oshtick. Now Harrington has it at the 18. He'll have a crack from out, and that goes wide. Game opening up a little bit more, Grant, as well, as we carry on and get now less than 10 minutes into this opening half.
Yeah, Scotus doing some good things and really putting some good offensive pressure on. Columbus getting a few breaks, but Scotus getting a few more than Columbus High is. So we'll see if that breaks down, if Scotus is eventually able to put one away, or if Columbus High will get another counter. You saw that counter attempt right there. If they could have cooled things down or placed the ball just a little bit better, they might have had a good shot on goal.
Strong with it for Columbus High. Attempts to switch the field to Adame. Now drop back to Tovar. Slide tackle in. It goes out for a Shamrock throw. Now Pedraza with it for Columbus. Coach Brzezinski wanting his players to stop stabbing as it's sent now to Ruiz.
Coaches don't like that, especially when you got your offensive player on the move like that, stabbing in there. Stabbing as a defensive player, sticking that foot in there can really cause some trouble, because that offensive player can just fly by you. That's what they're looking for. And it's a little different when you're sitting on that corner and you're trying to knock the ball out, so they're forced to maybe throw it in or do a corner kick or something like that. But when you're playing head up, face to face like that, you really got to avoid that. It's something, if you're getting frustrated, is more likely to happen.
Corner kick up coming for the Discoverers. And Wilderness Park being right next to at the airport. Plane flying in, getting a bird's eye view of the district final.
We saw some birds yesterday getting a bird's eye view, and now we got some soccer fans flying in over top to get a nice little look at this tough matchup.
Corner sent in, headed away by Kump. And Strong called for a foul on Kush, and he is gonna get carded. Strong now with a yellow. And he's gonna have to go to the bench.
And a good call there. Really didn't get any of the ball as he went in. That was really an unnecessary slide tackle. He wasn't in good position. But again, probably a product of how, I guess, frustrating and intense this game emotionally is getting as he tries to get the tackle there and come in, as you see an opportunity for a goal kind of slip out on that missed corner kick. But if anything, maybe the ref trying to establish himself a little bit, throwing that card out there versus just a penalty.
Spencieri coming in for the Shamrocks, as this match brought to you by the Tanning Place of Columbus. Visit them for all of your tanning needs. Located on 32nd Avenue in Columbus.
Scotus looking to attack again, but you see a lot of white shirts down there, as most of the team is back on defense. Also a lot of black shirts down there, so potential for a counter, which we've seen Columbus High do a couple times today.
Strong coming right back in for Luis Velasquez, and of course with that yellow he is going to have to play much more cautiously Because one more mistake, one too hard of a foul, an ill-advised challenge, picks up a second yellow. He is out for the contest, and Columbus is down to 10 men.
You talk about the future, too, going into that next sub-state game. He's going to have to sit out one if he gets that red card, something Arcos had to do on this very opening district matchup between both Norfolk Catholic. You talked about him and Strong being out. Arcos was out for that red card call.
Spenceri charging down for the Shamrocks. Strong recovery by Moreno. Moreno wins the ball back, not before it goes out of bounds. Scotus corner upcoming.
Nice contact, nice tackle by Moreno there. Wasn't overly physical, but enough to kind of stop Spenceri, but he also made contact with the ball, and especially when this game is getting physical the way it is, as a player, you got to make sure you're still playing clean, and soccer has room to be a physical game, and you see some of these matchups like this, especially when you get up to those higher levels. Those guys play pretty physical. It's just about being smart and playing within the rules.
37th minute of play. Harrington descended in. High ball into the box, headed down. Caleb Oshtick with it for the Shamrocks, cuts it back to the end line. Oshtick still with it, sends it in, but he did cross. Be out of bounds for a goal kick.
So the head from Oshtick went off Strong's foot before Oshtick was eventually able to regain control of it, and then it going out of bounds. So another good attempt by Scotus, and if they keep getting those, you got to imagine one of them's going to go in, so that's something to definitely be careful of, and I'm sure Coach Arlt is hoping as few of those take place as possible on his side of the field.
Rodriguez, Brabeck, and Adabo checking back in for Columbus High. Now Pedraza and Oshtick going at it. Dodson with it on the far side. Now Nathan Oshtick. Skovers win it back. Caleb Esch sends it forward. And Columbus High throws. We're in the final, or Scotus throw, excuse me, as we're in the final minutes of this half.
Imagine give me some good stoppage time on that at the end with that water break and that injury earlier, so we might have a little bit of time, but yeah, definitely closing down here quickly. It seems like it's just flying by right now.
And another foul against Columbus High, and another card comes out. Looks like that's Juan Lopez, the offender, so the second yellow card for the Discoverers.
Coach Arlt maybe trying to figure out why his player got the yellow as the ref starts coming towards the sideline a little bit. Of course, Columbus High wanted to play a little bit more physical like we mentioned, so I guess not surprised maybe that they're getting a second yellow there.
Shamrock throw coming, Nathan Oshtick to take it. Or we'll see the flip throw he does so often in these types of situations. High ball into the box. And that hits the side netting.
If he could, just distance-wise, a solid throw. Was going to land a little bit on that front portion of the goal there, obviously, from his side, the near post. But if he could have got ahead there, if it was in bounds, maybe got ahead to lead it over top and hit a player striking on the backside.
Rodriguez sends it forward. Brabeck running on for the Discoverers as it bounced back to Shohan. A little bit of a dicey situation there. The Shamrocks, though, dealt with the damage.
They've had a few own goals this year, and normally in games where they're either winning by 8 or 7 points, it seemed like when they had one against Lakeview and again another one against Pius the first time they matched up, but they did have that one against Scott that was late in that second overtime half. So I wouldn't imagine that's going to be the case or something that's going to happen here, but you also wonder if that's something that maybe is in the back of those defenders' minds.
Harrington with it for Scotus. Now to Cush. Cush gets past the defense. Has a shot going far post, well over.
So we're past regulation time now.
Zero, 0 here, as we're now in stoppage time. Also getting word 0-0 for the girls contest as well. Harrington sends it in once more. High and over Melendez's head, a shot. Bounces just wide, but Columbus High got in some trouble with Melendez not able to handle that corner coming in.
Man, just some great soccer going on here at Wilderness Park today. I was very curious to see how that Scotus girls and Columbus High girls matchup was going to turn out, because Scotus, you know, it was pretty close in that last time, but Scotus really did a good job and was pretty dominant, I would say, overall in that match. Columbus High probably given up a few too many penalty kicks, with Thorson scoring a couple of those, and that really hurt them in that first matchup. But both teams seeing a lot of growth this year. Scotus playing fantastic ball, we know, matching up against teams like Gretna, but Columbus High doing some great things too. And Ellie McMeekin, I'm sure, excited now after signing to go play at the College of St. Mary's as a soccer player there. So she is quite the talent on that team. And they got some younger players on that Columbus High team versus the Scotus team, but two teams that would be fun to watch. If you're not watching it with us, that's not a bad one to check out too.
Flip throw taken by Oshtik, sent to the box. Falls to Brandenburg, who has a crack with his left foot. Not a lot left in this one. Stoppage time winding down.
Would not be the craziest thing in the world for one of these teams to score a goal here right at the end of this first half. We've seen them both do it.
Discoverers with an opportunity here. Rodriguez with it. Sends it across with his left, Kumps there. Now can Scotus counter, up to Cush. Oshtik charging down. And great recovery by the Discoverer back line.
Dame showing a little trickery there on the far side. It looks like it stayed in bounds for a little bit before Pelster going to throw it in, so we'll see. Like you said, time running out. We're into that 43rd minute right now, so we had that water break. It took a decent amount of time, so we'll see how much longer it goes, but I can't imagine a ton.
There is the whistle. 0-0 is your score. The Shamrocks and Discoverers knotted up after the first 40 minutes of play in the district final. Stay with us here on News Channel Nebraska. We'll be back with stats and analysis after the break.
Hi, I'm Dee Hansen. I'm the Marketing Director, and we would like to introduce you to Bank of the Valley.
Community-minded, family-centered, measurable relationships. When it comes to your business, agriculture, and personal banking needs, trust Bank of the Valley.
We really focus on the people that we serve. Relationships are the most important thing to us, and because we're smaller, we're flexible enough and we can make those quick decisions to meet your needs.
Bank of the Valley in Bellwood, David City, Platte Center, and their brand new location in Columbus.
Welcome to the new Dr. Vinyl. We are your trusted source for all vinyl, leather, plastic, and fabric repair with over 20 years of proven and tested results. We provide mobile services and will come to you for most repairs. Help improve the trade-in value of your vehicle with help from Dr. Vinyl. Here at Dr. Vinyl, we are dedicated to providing quality service to the entire community. Dr. Vinyl, South Highway 30 and 81, Columbus, Nebraska. It's now time for the Columbus Community Hospital Sports Injury 101 with Brandon Axelman and Dr. Dustin Volkmer.
Well, it's time for another Sports Injury 101 segment brought to you by Columbus Community Hospital. Currently at halftime of live soccer sports action here on News Channel Nebraska. Brandon Axelman with you, and as always joining us is Dr. Dustin Volkmer, where today we are talking foot injuries, and there is a plethora of different injuries that could happen on the soccer field and to soccer athletes, so let's just jump right in. What are some of the more common ones you see in regards to the foot during soccer season?
Sure. So there's about 26 bones in the foot, over 100 ligaments, so there's a lot of structures that can get injured, like you said. Most commonly in terms of the foot for soccer players, we see sprains of some of the small ligaments and small joints in here. One of the more common ones we see is the so-called turf toe, which is basically a sprain of the big toe joint where it tends to flex. So this usually happens either a forceful plant in the ground and pushing off, or even if the player has their cleat stuck in the ground and has another player fall on top of them, it hyperextends that big toe joint, which stretches the tendons and the ligaments on the underside. And that can obviously cause a lot of pain, swelling, and discomfort with play. Generally, it's not surgical treatment, so we treat it initially with ice, anti-inflammatories. They do make inserts in the shoes that are very rigid to kind of help prevent that hyperextension injury. So once the pain is tolerable, the player can usually get back on the field, but that's a very common injury. Another typical injury we see in the foot, well, not so common, but it can occur with that same mechanism as injury to what we call the Lisfranc ligament, which is more up the foot here, the joint between the small bones here and the bigger bones in the foot. And again, it's usually from a foot planted in the ground, a player falls on top, or a sudden twist off or a push off where that ligament will actually tear and cause some instability at this joint. Unfortunately for that, if it's a high-grade injury or a tear, that does require surgery because that leads to some instability in the foot over time.
And what would you say the recovery process is on that? Should you need surgery for that Lisfranc injury?
So for the Lisfranc injury, it's after surgery, it tends to be non-weight bearing for 8 to 12 weeks to let it heal up. In terms of coming back, it can be 4 to 6 months again, just to really recover, get your full strength back, make sure that ligament heals up. So it's kind of a longer recovery as well for that. Like I said, the turf toe, it's really more when the athlete's comfortable. It can be 3 to 4 weeks in terms of getting the pain and swelling calmed down. And unfortunately, it can tend to be a lingering injury throughout that season. So really, once they get through the season and rest, it tends to go away and not really recur.
And a lot of soccer players know who play. You're running around, you have cleats on, and feet get stepped on quite a bit with those cleats. Is there a lot of broken bones or broken toes that you see in the foot during soccer season, or is that more of a rarity?
No, it's not very rare. I mean, it's something we see commonly. Fortunately, most of them don't require surgery or anything, so we can play through them. But like you said, soccer cleats tend to not be very protective or supportive when you have big cleats on the end of them. So getting stepped on a lot, these small toe bones out here tend to see a lot of stress, and they can crack and break. Typically, we can treat that with some buddy taping or supportive insert in the shoe and tend to get the athlete back very quickly. It's very rare that these need to be operated on, so very common injury to see, but fortunately it's not really a season ender. We can usually work through it and get them back there.
Wrapping this one up, you said not a lot of protection in soccer cleats. It's just nature of the game. How do you prevent these foot injuries you've talked about from happening, or is it just kind of the luck or unluck of the draw while you're playing soccer?
Yeah, a lot of it's just unlucky. I mean, in terms of preventing the turf toe injury, if it's something you're predisposed to anyway, wearing the rigid inserts, they tend to not be very comfortable is the problem. But that can prevent the hyperextension type injury. In terms of the Lisfranc ligament, taping, a lot of athletes will tape the ankle and the foot. That does provide some support, although studies show that probably loses a lot of its support within the first 10 or 15 minutes anyway. But that can provide some support. And just even a good ankle brace, a lace-up ankle brace, will provide some support to the midfoot bones here as well. That's about the best we can do, but a lot of it's just kind of luck of the draw, I suppose.
All right, well, Dr. Volkmer, as always, appreciate you stopping in, sharing information about foot injuries and prevention and how to avoid them if possible.
Sure, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
That wraps up another edition of Sports Injury 101 brought to you by Columbus Community Hospital. We're going to be back with live high school soccer action shortly here on News Channel Nebraska.
We're really excited at Central Community College. We have a variety of different programs we offer, from 2-year degrees to get people prepared for the workforce, as well as for the transfer programs to provide the first 2 years for successful transfer to our area universities. We do provide some small classes, and so the instructors and the students get to know each other and work together, really lifelong friends, whether it be athletics or student clubs and organizations. So we really try to be a community college. We're all here to help each other succeed.
Welcome to Ernst, one of the largest dealers in northeast Nebraska. With 8 acres of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. At the new Ernst, we're doing things differently. Tired of haggling? Tired of back and forth? Let us show you how easy it can be, and we never charge stock fees. Finding the vehicle you want at the best possible price is our priority. We know you can shop anytime or buy anywhere. Shop Ernst, East Highway 30 in Columbus.
State Farm agent Annette Alt can help you find the right level of auto coverage. Call today at 402-564-8581.
Ever wonder where those mysterious spots and stains come from? Call your local Heaven's Best carpet and upholstery cleaning technician. You can enjoy life, and we'll clean it up.
Heaven's Best Carpet Cleaning, the cleanest carpet you'll ever see.
Heaven's Best. You've tried the rest, now try the best. Call George at 402-564-9060 or on the web at columbusne.heavensbest.com.
The Heritage at Meridian Gardens offers assisted living and memory support at our premier community in Columbus. Our services are designed to easily adapt to your social, emotional, spiritual, and physical needs. In short, we love to see you smile. Ask how you can get on our risk-free waiting list. See more online at heritage-communities.com. Call us at 564-6300 or stop by 4515 38th Street in Columbus. The Heritage at Meridian Gardens, helping you to live better. Something to smile about, indeed.
Columbus Community Hospital is leading the way in better technology for our patients. The Tournier Simplicity system is changing the lives of shoulder replacement patients across the country. Developed by a team including Columbus's own Dr. Ed Feringer, patients experience a bone-preserving procedure that is shorter and less invasive, meaning they get back to doing the things they love faster. To find out if Simplicity is right for you, go to www.columbushosp.org.
And welcome back to Wilderness Park halftime here at the B6 District Final between number 2 Scotus and number 4 Columbus High. We're scoreless, 0-0 after the first 40 minutes of play as we are well into the Ernst halftime show. Grant, not a lot of highlights as far as goals go, but that's not to say a lot of action didn't take place. Very physical and opportunities by both squads.
Yeah, normally when you look at a game that's 0-0, it's not super exciting, but this game has been a blast to watch. We had a blast watching this thing in the first half, and you could see the shots were at least firing towards the goalies. Now, they weren't super contested outside of a couple that we saw on Columbus's end with Melendez. On a couple of those corner kicks, they had some close calls, but outside of that, it's been a pretty defensive-heavy battle, but we've seen outside of the majority possession from Scotus, a few counters from Columbus High offensively, so that's really what we've seen out of those two teams. Nothing crazy, but you imagine, if anything, maybe Scotus, I would think, is looking like they're poised to maybe get the first goal if we do see one here soon or see one at all. Of course, we could go into overtime, get into a shootout situation, but Columbus Scotus has at least been setting themselves up into a situation where I think they might get the first goal. We'll see how it goes, though. Columbus has, like I said, done a good job countering.
It would definitely be more with the run of play if that would be the case. But, of course, if you're Coach John Arlt, you couldn't be happier. You said you could only score one goal. As we hear a goal being scored on the girls' side, and it looks like Scotus has scored. It was 0-0 at halftime, but the Shamrocks have just netted it early on in this first half. So we'll be continuing to provide updates from that. We're bouncing back from the girls to the boys. John Arlt said we need to score a goal, and we can't give up but maybe one to have any sort of a chance, being the Shamrocks have not allowed more than one goal, excuse me. So in that situation, the Discoverers are doing just fine.
Yeah, the defense is going to need to stay strong throughout the rest of this game because Columbus Scotus is definitely pressing, and that's the difficult thing. We mentioned that earlier, too. There you see Coach Motes, I believe, with the youngster and his wife, his baby they just had recently this year, but it's going to be interesting to see if Columbus High can break through this defense and actually get a goal. They don't have that prolific scorer. They don't have one guy they're really leaning on. They got a couple of them that definitely have the ability to score. It'll just be if one of those can step up, or if they can send it into a guy, get them in position to do that. Columbus Scotus, we know, can really score with any of those guys up in that front box, and they've already done a good position of setting some guys up. It's just which one's going to fly past that goalie first, whether it's Melendez or Shohan. That is going to be yet to tell, I guess. It's going to be hard to predict which one's going to be. I would say Scotus kind of has that upper hand, though.
There were 2 cards given as well. Juan Lopez has a yellow, and Tyler Strong also with a yellow for the Discoverers. They'll need to be playing more cautiously in the second half. not wanting to grab a second, obviously, which is a bad thing if you're a Discoverers fan.
They got to come out firing. Columbus High playing very physical in that first half, and they did get because of those 2 yellows, I think, route from how physical they were playing, kind of being the aggressor. Not really Scotus' style of play. Scotus does out physical some teams, but they're just so good at finessing their way up towards the goal that they don't really need to out physical other teams. They are pretty big, but Columbus High, as you mentioned in that first game, kind of got Scotus to play out of funk, and we're seeing Scotus kind of playing more physical than we have in some other matchups, trying to match that physicality the Discoverers bring to the field. Scotus, I'm sure after that halftime talk, I'm sure Brzezinski told them, hey, calm down a little bit, just play your game that we know you're good at, and it'll come. And you got to imagine a call there, as you could see Luis Tovar kind of hooking Bailey Pelster as he was fighting for that ball.
And we have the official word from John Kipper. Kim Stutzman, the goal scorer for the Shamrocks, off of a beautiful pass by Emily Farringer. So the Shamrocks strike first on the girls' side. Scotus currently up 1-0, netting right after the halftime break.
Be interesting to see if Ellie McMeekin and those girls can answer. They, of course, have the ability and the skills to do it. As Kipper made it sound like they had a double yellow situation earlier on over there, which is something you do not see very often. You said you've never seen it, and I have not seen it myself either, but had some physical contact between Feehan and McMeekin, it sounded like, and resulted in a couple cards coming out. But it'll be interesting to see if Columbus High can respond to that Scotus goal early here in the second half.
Cole Harrington making a run as he now finds Nathan Oshtick. The Shamrocks looking to attack as no whistle after some collision between two players. Official waves play on, which means they thought the foul would have been against the Shamrocks on that occasion.
Yeah,
Dabo coming along the line now.
Definitely looked like Harrington kind of grabbed the back of Pedraza there and then used his other foot in front to kind of bring him down. So really surprised we didn't even get a penalty on that call. Coach Arlt yelling, we want the card. You can see that Harrington's arm coming over the back, throwing down Pedraza on that play. So surprised we didn't get any call at all.
Anthony Cush running on that far side for the Shamrocks. Some space in front of him. A booming kick that goes across the box and out of bounds.
So a couple minutes in here, and still seeing that physical play. Wasn't sure if maybe those teams are going to calm down there, but you saw that, obviously, that Harrington tackle. And we've seen Columbus High playing pretty physical here too. Those guys still bumping into each other. You saw Tovar down in that far end kind of wrapping around Bailey Pelster. Which again, soccer is a game that allows you to play physical, and the games are really more intense and fun to watch as long as they are played physical, but at the same time within the rules.
Moreno going against Kump, freshman versus senior currently. And that goes out for Scotus throw, excuse me. So while both teams very talented, you would say Scotus, of course, as the two-time defending champs, is the favorite. And you have to think if you're the Discoverers, the confidence grows the longer and longer it stays even, the longer and longer you're still in this one, if you will. And we've seen it before. All it takes is one chance for a team to get that opportunity. But right now, the Shamrocks threatening. Foltz cuts it back inside, has a shot on his right, off target.
Columbus High definitely the question mark coming into this game. We know they're good, but where do they measure up to Scotus? That was something we weren't sure of, because Scotus is just playing such top-notch ball, but really impressed even how Columbus has grown, and they're playing a lot better in this matchup than they did the first time around.
This district final brought to you by CK Kitchen and Bath Design in Columbus. Visit them for all your kitchen and bath remodeling and design needs.
Scotus as well playing better soccer than they were earlier in the season, so both teams improving. But with Columbus High's question marks, there wasn't really any question coming into the season that Scotus was going to be good, and they played from day one some pretty solid soccer. But Columbus High we weren't sure of. They had some big question marks. Melinda is one of those. You weren't sure how good of a goalie he was going to be just with the inexperience at the varsity level. But he stepped up, done a pretty solid job. Of course, over 100 saves now, so that's something to be said about that. But Scotus has really grown well over the season, and that can be tough when you talk about the pressure of maybe trying to get that first three-peat ever as far as state championships go in Nebraska high school soccer. There can be a lot of pressure with that, and on a senior class that's very talented and done some good things this year, this would really cap it off. So I think it kind of all has just grown into this soccer season, which people, I would say, probably thought is their best team that they're putting out on the field in all sports.
Boss turns for the Shamrocks, staying with Scotus. Brandenburg now. One back by the Discoverers. Sent forward towards Moreno. And he collides with Caleb Ostick. No whistle.
I'd say it's probably an all right no call there. They haven't really called that specific type of tackle or contact throughout the game so far. No call there again, of course. Getting contact on the ball.
Ball cleared away by the Discoverers. Dodson to take at the throw. As you have Brabeck waiting to come in for Columbus High.
Dodson yesterday signing to go play football at Morningside College, a really impressive school as far as football goes. Definitely the best, or at least not one of the more premier teams at that level.
Foltz with it in the box, cleared away, it goes out of bounds. And will be a goal kick as Brabeck checks in. Had a lot of signings yesterday alongside Dodson, Ellie McMeekin, the Discoverers soccer player, also signing to St. Mary, as you mentioned, and a CCC player in Augustine for basketball, taking her talents to Omaha as well.
We had a fun time watching that one broadcast we did of the CCC girls basketball team right at the end of the year when they're playing in that regional competition. And she was a blast to watch, very talented player, interesting to see. Sometimes it doesn't always translate when they go play that next level from the JUCO. Sometimes it's hard to make that adjustment. It's just a lot of transition to go from high school to that JUCO level to a different level where you got girls that are the same age as you, have already been on the team for 2-3 years, and so making that adjustment can be difficult. Of course, hope and wish the best of luck for her and those other volleyball girls and CCC athletes that are signing on to go play at that D2, D3 level. Hopefully get to be able to follow them for a couple years here and hope their careers turn out well, but congratulations to her. She was fun to watch.
Marino checks in for Pedroza. We are nearing 10 minutes in, closing in on the 50th minute of play, still scoreless here in the district final between these two top foes. Slide tackle by Boss. Now a Scotus player is down as the Shamrocks look to attack. Cush with it. Chance for a shot going in, and Melendez is there as ball got deflected.
Looks like Bailey Pelster, the one that might be shaken up a little bit. He looks to be okay. He's walking around. He did suffer, I believe, was some kind of groin or in that leg, lower body injury during that football season. It was a little bit nagging, I think, coming into the soccer season, but he's been playing throughout the year. We know that St. Ignatius Cup, they sat him out that second game against Pius, and again, they weren't really into that game. That was when they lost to Pius in that second overtime, but they've given a chance to rest if they've had the chance, but he's been looking pretty good throughout the rest of the season.
Harrington cuts inside, has a shot, and that goes well wide, but Scotus continuing to create opportunities here.
They just need to piece it together enough to get one in the net. Of course, that's what Columbus High is trying to do as well. But again, to reiterate, Columbus High, a lot of their opportunities are off those counters. And maybe one of the better opportunities we've seen today could have been off of that cross right towards the end of, with about a minute left in that first half. There was on a counter, and they tried sending it over top to that left side of the goal, but of course it just went too far. But that could have been a really good attempt for them. If they can get another opportunity like that, they'll need to take advantage of it.
Opportunity here for the Shamrocks as the official gives a free kick to Scotus. About 30 yards out, well within striking distance.
And these set pieces, a lot of teams obviously are more likely to score if they're getting a lot of chances out of set pieces, but these free kicks are dangerous to give up to the Scotus team because these guys that take them, and Boss and Harrington and Oshtick, are just so good at it.
Harrington drops it off. Boss chips it across. Caleb has a shot. Now Nathan sends it back in. Discover's scrambling in the box. Goes out for a goal kick, so once more the Discovers handle the test.
And it looked like he was trying to send it over top to Cush, who you saw run by for that first fake there. He was kind of attacking on that far right side of the post. Was just a little bit too high, and of course Oshtick was back there too, but it looked like he was maybe trying to hit Cush for a header.
Lopez with it for the Discovers. Goes all the way through to Adame. Adame gets around two defenders. Brabeck on the far side. He's charging down against Kumpf. Push by Brabeck. Not before the ball went out of bounds for a Columbus throw.
And Brabeck, a big physical guy. He plays quarterback for the Columbus High team, and he's one of those guys. He does a pretty good job throwing, but he did a ton of running this year, and a lot of out of those power type situations as he sends that one in well over top. But you can tell he's a pretty imposing guy, big physical kid, and he uses that to his advantage when he can. But a pretty good athlete too, got some speed as we saw in that football season.
Discovers win the ball back out of bounds off Harrington. Velasquez and Pedroza checking back in for the Discoverers.
Pedroza, one of those leading scorers, as you mentioned, for Columbus High.
Little miscommunication by the Discoverers as you saw Adabo sent that into the box and nobody there. As now Brandenburg brings it from the back line for the Shamrocks. Now to Cush. Foltz has it sent into the box. Trickles through to Oshtick. Still has it at his feet. Oshtick with a shot over the crossbar just by inches.
And Brzezinski almost falling over here next to the bench after that one didn't go in. That was a very good attempt for the Scotus Shamrocks. They've had a couple good ones today. It was probably their best shot. We had that one early on that went off the crossbar that Harrington tried curving in. But Oshtick, and Oshtick, a solid shooter too, a solid attacker, just unable to get the finish on that one right over the top. And nothing really more frustrating than that when you're getting shots on goal, but they're just soaring over, if not off, the crossbar.
Wanted goal number 13, did not get it there. Jake Boss, though, with space in front of him.
There you can see that Oshtick went over the top as Scotus was looking for another attempt here.
Dodson and Marino going at it. Now to Pelster. Caleb Oshtick now. Chips it in. Harrington running on. Collision but no foul. Discoverers trying to counter. Tovar bringing it forward to Brabeck. Brabeck and Kumpf going at it, and Kumpf once again, like we've seen so many times, wins that battle.
And a nice matchup there as far as you talk about two physical players, talented, athletic guys. Kumpf and Brabeck, we both mentioned how tough those guys are. You saw Kumpf kind of just step through that tackle earlier on. So a good matchup there, but Kumpf wins out.
Nathan Oshtick with it again. Brandenburg and Brabeck going at it. Brandenburg taken down by Brabeck. Spenceri, who's now back in for the Shamrocks, passes across field. Dodson keeps it in. And that'll be a throw deep on that far side of the field, quickly taken to Harrington. '66th minute of play, Grant still scoreless. Action-packed second half, just like the first, though.
Yeah, we didn't really expect much else out of this game. It was like something we were looking forward to was today's matchup. We thought this might have been the case coming into the district final. Wasn't sure if Schuyler was going to be able to rebound and defeat Scotus in that matchup, but Scotus showed they were worth that #2 ranking that they have, and Columbus High is showing that they should maybe be #3. I think they're making a pretty good matchup with Scotus here today, playing them pretty tough. Schuyler does some really good things too. You talk about that offensive attack that they just really didn't show off against Scotus, and credit Scotus' defense a little bit for that as well, but maybe not playing as aggressive as they could have against a decently tough opponent in Scotus. So it'll be interesting to see if they can turn things around here in that state tournament and a potential matchup again.
I see Moreno's down. We're also in the middle of a water break, so we'll take a quick break. Be back shortly on News Channel Nebraska. And we're just kidding. We're going to stay right here, as Moreno appears to be all right, just taking a small little breather.
A situation where that heat and that wind is not really picked up a ton, but just enough to kind of create a breeze type situation. So it'll good to get these water breaks in here. This one a little bit earlier than that first half one. Of course, we've been out here a lot longer now that we are into a second half.
So Moreno okay to walk off the field under his own power, as the players for both teams now as hydrated as they can be for the final 20+ minutes or so. Columbus High, while they've been hanging with the Shamrocks, still haven't been able to create the offensive opportunities Scotus has. But it doesn't matter because it's still tied 0-0. And they're playing with confidence as well. Pedraza with it, leading the attack. Now with Gilberto Rodriguez, sends it across. Pedraza has a shot on his left and can't get around on it.
Yeah, we just have to kind of wait and see if Columbus High is going to break through and get that goal. And same with Scotus. Scotus has made some valiant efforts at trying to knock one into the back of the net. Harrington and Oshtick both coming very close. Harrington knocking it off the crossbar and Oshtick going right over it.
Got Anthony Cush checking back in, as he's actually playing more of a wing role alongside Foltz, who now has it on the far side. Nathan Oshtick actually currently at the top of the attack.
They're going to call a foul there. Penalty on Scotus, so it's going to be a kick for Columbus. And Foltz, one of those guys that's just extremely deadly when you get him down there that close to the goal. He does a really good job at handling the ball, redirecting, juking defenders out. and can send it in as well.
Melendez comes out, scoops that one up. Formationally, Scotus runs that 4-3-3 as opposed to Columbus High's 4-4-2. As it's been a stalemate thus far. Jake Boss still with the ball on the touchline, trying to find Nathan Oshtick. And again, the back line of Columbus High sorts out the danger. Back to Volts, though. Boss all the way back to Dodson. Dodson sends this one in. Won't bother Melendez from that far.
And again, really impressed at Columbus High's ability to stay with this Scotus team. And really how they've grown throughout this year. We knew they were good. We know they played some tough competition, but they're having a great game today. And partly you got to credit that to a couple missed goals from Scotus, because Scotus did have some opportunities to already go up, potentially 2-0 at this point. But you know, they haven't got it done yet. They haven't been able to get those goals. So if you're Columbus High, at least gives you a chance to take advantage of that. Now, Scotus very well could get a goal here any minute as we look and slowly move into the last 20 minutes of this half. But if Scotus isn't able to put away a goal and they're just a little bit off, then Columbus High maybe could take advantage of that. Again, Scotus getting a lot more opportunities than Columbus High is, and you would think is going to get one of those goals at some point here.
And looking back at the record books, all the way back to 2005, NSCA keeps records as far back as 2003. Officially, these teams have met 11 times. And Columbus High actually holds a 6-5 advantage in this series. Of course, probably the biggest matchup between these schools as Pedroza has a shot. Goes over and wide, was of course that state championship back in 2009 where Scotus came out on top 1-0 in overtime. But actually 5 of these contests between the schools have either gone to shootouts or overtime, most recently in 2015 in that Scotus Invite Championship, where the Discoverers surprised and upset the Shamrocks.
It always seems to be a good matchup, but again, crediting those youth soccer leagues for really building these programs and supplying the players at both of these schools. And Lakeview gets some good schools in there every once in a while as well. They're just not having a strong season this year or the last, but the talent in the area is just really impressive as those youth soccer leagues build these guys, and it makes for a lot of fun soccer to watch in the area.
Well past halfway in the second half, 64th minute of play. And we are still scoreless. Number 2 Scotus, number 4 Columbus. B6 District Final, live here on News Channel Nebraska. Free kick sent in.
And then sent back.
And sent right back, and won back by the Shamrocks. Pelster, though, called for a foul. So the Discoverers attempting to quickly take it, and they do. Arco sending it forward to Ruiz. Lopez drops it back. Velasquez. Now Cush, normally the forward, playing in that midfield role currently. Ball bounces off Cush, he's still running forward. Esch nicely deals with it, clears it away.
Strong play by Cush to use his body to try and block that one. Of course, turning around, but just a nice play by a physical forward.
Brandenburg battling for the Shamrocks. Arcos. Grant, back and forth we go, attack and counterattack. Right now, Columbus more on their back heels, just trying to deal with the Shamrocks' assault and clearing it out. Haven't been able to string too much together offensively.
You're talking about an exciting environment to play in. As Shohan will take care of this one. You saw in the background as we look through all those fans. And that's just half of them. We got a bunch of them over in this area too, kind of by the booth and underneath the building out here. And then of course a ton of people over at that girls soccer game as well. And this is definitely the most well-attended one we've been to so far this year. Even I would say more than the St. Ignatius Cup that had a pretty good crowd, but this one is pretty impressive today.
Big thanks to Nick Arps at Arps Siding and Construction for providing the scaffolding for Scaffold Cam, being manned currently by Ethan Hess, helping allow all these soccer broadcasts at Wilderness Park this year be possible. Big thanks to Arps Siding and Construction as a free kick sent in by Harrington, just over the head of Jake Boss.
I'll be curious to see if we do just get a goal here as we're in that 26th minute of this half. 66 overall. Time just kind of winding down. There's still plenty of time. You talk about that extra 14 minutes plus whatever stoppage time. We had that water break in there. So there's definitely time to score and get something moving here, but wouldn't be surprised and wouldn't hate it if we got into that overtime and got into a shootout type situation. That seems only fitting for these two teams. The way they're playing, but it would be exciting too to get a goal here, and fans would not be disappointed by I'm sure some fans would be saddened by a 1-0 loss, but a 1-0 victory would definitely supply for some interesting contest.
And if you're Columbus High, you just got to keep continuing to feel good as long as you hold on. Boss has a shot deflected. And now Moreno sends it up the line. Ruiz going against Pelster. Ruiz still with it, cutting it inside, has some room in front. Ruiz shielded off, and a shot goes to the near post, saved by Shohan. And the Discoverers getting excited. The fans especially. Juan Lopez was the one who had the crack.
And boy, again, it's all about those counters. Scotus definitely winning that position battle, and after a tough spot in the middle, gets it right where it needs to, and that's that far right post, one of those far posts to trying to stretch Shohan out. Obviously, the ideal situation is to hit those upper 90s. That's the toughest place. Science-wise, even, it's pretty basic physics. That's the farthest way to reach to, so obviously it's going to be the hardest part to block, but still a good job getting to one of those far posts, and nice job by Shohan as well.
All 6'3" of Shohan being used to get his fingertips on that one. There's a reason Coach Brzezinski refers to him as a stud, quote unquote. Kept the goal out there. We're still scoreless because of it.
Nice clear there by Jake Boss. We'll see if Columbus High can reset and get another attempt. Columbus High in that last matchup even too, you talk about how they played a little bit more physical. They won the possession battle, I believe, in that first time they played against each other, and that hasn't quite been the situation today. Columbus High is basically attacking on counters, and we'll see. We do get a call, so going to be a free kick for Columbus High. They've been attacking on counters, and they're trying to take advantage of one of those. They'll see if they get a break on this one.
Another opportunity. Columbus High growing more and more confident. Gilberto Rodriguez getting ready to take this free kick. It's a lot of white jerseys forward into the box. High ball sent in. Shohan punches it away.
Nice play by Shohan, and that's one of those things too you talk about.
Well, sent back in though. Offsides is the call against the Discoverers.
Talk about Columbus High's confidence as you go farther in this match. Probably a little more discouraging for Scotus too if they can't get that one in the back of the net. Of course, they definitely have the stamina and the ability to overpower that and to get one in, but it just makes it tougher, and definitely an advantage for Columbus High the longer this thing stays 0-0.
Duncan Pachalza as well as Foltz coming in for the Shamrocks, Strong, and Luis Torrego checking back in for the Discoverers. Oshtik comes off for Scotus, and Kush going back to that forward roll.
Tarango running into Marino there, but Tarango again getting control of it before hitting Marino. So those two conflicting a little bit there on the same team.
Ball sent forward, Pelster running against Ruiz. Pelster so strong and fast, deals with the danger, at least initially. One back with Tovar now. Tovar switches the field to Adabo. Brandenburg deals with it.
Brandenburg, a guy we haven't mentioned a ton today, but a really strong defender on that back line. We're talking about Pelster and Kump quite a bit. Brandenburg just hasn't been in the mix as much as those two throughout the opening parts of this game, but very strong player. You saw his speed a little bit earlier when he kind of came up from midfield and started attacking down towards the goal with the ball. So a very fast, athletic guy, and does a really good job on that far side.
Shohan coming up to take this free kick. Booms it forward towards the box to Jake Boss.
And we're into that lap. We're about 8 minutes left in regulation. And so not a ton of time, and obviously Scotus looking like they're sending a few more people forward to try and get that goal.
Ball swung in too much on that one. Goal kick for the Discoverers. Nathan Oshtik checking back in, and Pedroza for the Discoverers. Would not be a surprise if it goes to overtime, Grant. Seems to be about 50% of our broadcasts do.
We have had quite a few overtime games. Not as many shootouts, but would be interesting to see this one go to a shootout. That would make it definitely about the most exciting outcome you could think of.
Well, Kush with it now. Cleared out, searching towards Ruiz. Moreno going against Dodson. An experienced defender handles it. Foul actually called against Moreno. Free kick for the Shamrocks.
So Dodson, a strong leg as well, going to send this one in.
It's a low one.
Didn't quite get that off the ground, maybe as much as he was wanting to. A lot of guys standing in the box there, so hard to get anything moving off of a low kick from half field, just because most of the guys have readjusted to come down and protect in defense.
Adame and Brabeck back in for the Discoverers. Clock ticking down. '74th minute of play. So roughly 6 plus that water break.
Got about 3 minutes roughly of stoppage time in that first half, so I'd imagine it'd be a little bit similar because we had this time Moreno down on the ground for a little bit too.
We saw Tarango get around Dodson. Cleared away again by Kumpf.
And every attack by either Columbus High or misattack by Columbus High or Scotus is met with an equally loud sigh from the crowd section. Of course, pretty strong crowd support for both teams as we are here in Columbus.
Juan Lopez with it for the Discoverers. That'll be a Shamrock throw. So right now it's just teams taking punches at one another, not literally but figuratively. Launching attack back and forth, trying to crack the code right now by both back lines, and it's still scoreless. And a card is coming for Bailey Pelster as you hear cheers from the Discover fans and Coach John Arlt as the senior center back held up the Discoverers' attack.
And we saw some physical play vice versa against Bailey Pelster early on in this second half. And of course, as the game just gets longer and longer, sitting 0-0, both teams frustrated. Some missed attacks for Scotus, obviously. They could be up 2-0 right now. It's pretty draining. Columbus High also having a missed attack in Pedraza, sending that one there a little bit earlier in this half. That went just over the right top side of the goal.
Opportunity here for the Discoverers, 32 yards out. Pedroza going to take it. He has a shot, and that one did not dip down. We have a goal on the girls' contest. Cannot confirm, but judging by it, I'm thinking it's a Columbus High one.
I would think so as well. So an interesting look like an interesting matchup over there. We had the 0-0, both sides going into half, and it looks like they might be now tied up 1-1. So if you're out here watching soccer, there are a lot of people out here. If you're just watching on TV, there's just a lot of good soccer going on, and be sure to check out the highlights of that girls game later on Columbus News Team and News Channel Nebraska 48, either on the highlight package or on the Sportscast.
And of course, that girls contest started 3 to 4 minutes before the boys, so Columbus grabbing right before the end of regulation. John Kipper says it was off a corner, but amidst the confusion, he doesn't know who got it in. But nonetheless, Columbus High equalizes. And we may have 2 overtime contests in here in the district finals.
Only fitting for this Columbus rivalry, and you wouldn't expect anything less. Both teams really developing and coming into their own throughout this season. And good sign for Columbus High. You know, Scotus, you would probably give the upper hand in that girls competition as well. Obviously ranked a little bit higher. And you look at their resume and their pedigree throughout the schedule they played throughout the rest of the season. They've just shown to be a little bit more steady, I guess, in their play and consistent. And Columbus High, of course, losing to maybe or falling to a couple teams they probably shouldn't have, or they could have at least competed a little bit better against. But both teams seem to be playing some pretty tough soccer right now.
'78th minute of play in this one before stoppage time. Cush with it, one back by Esch. We're still tied here, scoreless between number 2 Scotus and number 4 Columbus High.
And I say it'd only be fitting for this thing to go in overtime, but it'd be fitting just as much for a late goal to sneak in here.
And Boss has one from way out, and that curves 2 to 3 yards wide.
You talked about that West Side game in that first half, and Alec Foltz getting that late goal to give them the win. And of course mentioned Columbus High's ability to stick some late ones in against Crete and a couple other opponents. So it would definitely match the style of these two teams to sneak one in here before the end of regulation. But of course you looked at that Columbus rivalry aspect and the way these two teams have been playing throughout the year. In overtime or potential shoot-off. And no hand call there.
Alec Foltz charging down the line. He goes down. And the official, no call. That was a tense situation there, and that would have been a very big call to give.
That is a big one right there, and that's going to be one people are talking about. If Scotus is unable to win this game, their fans are going to be thinking about that call for at least the next year till you get another Columbus High Scotus matchup. Because a penalty kick there would have most likely been a goal. Those are just tough to stop. Nothing against Melendez there, but you got a lot of talented shot placers on this Scotus roster, and penalty kicks are hard to block no matter what. That is something you're probably going to be hearing about here for the next year, I'm sure.
Not an overly huge objection by Coach Brzezinski. That whole sequence was actually very interesting because Discoverers were wanting a handball from Foltz that started that thing. Foltz went down, and whenever someone goes down in the box, you hold your breath. But we are running out of time here in this one. Brabeck goes down, and a free kick given, no card.
So Columbus at least with an opportunity here to set something up.
See, is Arcos going to send this one in?
Free kick heading towards the box. It's Shohan Skies to grab it.
Great placement and great attacking by Shohan to come out. And we're past regulation here, so we're into stoppage time in the boys.
And here come the Shamrocks and Cush. Time winding down. Ball goes out of bounds, and we have official word. We're heading to overtime on the girls' end. That late equalizer by Columbus High, forcing the 1-1 tie. Will that be the case here on the boys' side?
Yeah, we'll sure hope so, because I would not argue with getting to watch some more soccer between these two teams. This is one of the most exciting games we've been able to broadcast, even though it is 0-0 throughout this year. We've seen some pretty high-scoring games, but this has just been a tough competition as both teams going back and forth and really playing some pretty hard soccer.
Boss with it for the Shamrocks. No one closing him down. Now to Cush. Strong defense by the Discoverers. Shot by Oshtik, blocked.
Credit to Rango with those first two as he tries to send out the other one. Going to be a free kick for Scotus.
Handball. Tough call against the Discoverers as it was a deflection. Went up into an arm of a Discoverer. But this one right outside the box. Time winding down.
You think maybe roughly a minute left.
About 21 yards out. Harrington's there as well as Boss. Who will take it? Boss chips it up. Punched away. Boss has a shot blocked. And again, Columbus High dealing with the danger.
So not exactly sure we are in that stoppage time like you said, but can't imagine there is very much left in that stoppage time. We got to be getting pretty close to the end here. That official checking his watch still as Shohan kicks this one away.
Ball goes to Alec Foltz, and there is the whistle. So 20 more minutes of soccer coming your way between the Shamrocks and Discoverers. We're tied at 0 after regulation. We'll be back here live on News Channel Nebraska.
Would you like to watch this game from above the crowd? When it comes to finding you a new home, the team at Total Realty have a game plan that'll put you above the crowd. Whether you're buying or selling, they will answer your questions and provide an expert offense to put you in the lead during the whole process. The Total Realty team members are real people living in your same community. They have the same concerns as you do, and one might just live in your own neighborhood. Your RE/MAX team members are the hometown experts with the world of experience. They don't just want to sell you homes, they want to make you happy. At Total Realty today, log on to ColumbusTotalRealty.com or see their full list of homes from the Columbus app, available on iPhone and Android devices.
I'm from California. Cargill, they gave me an opportunity. It's a good insurance for me and my family. They pay good. You get to know a lot of people. You don't get bored doing your job.
At Bank First, see for yourself why it's a better way of banking. We offer an outstanding checking account, and best of all, it's free. If you need a loan, we provide loans of all types: commercial, ag, consumer, and even residential. We know your time is valuable. That's why we make decisions locally. We have all the latest banking technologies, including mobile deposit. Easily deposit checks using your smartphone. Stop in. Let Bank First show you a better way of banking.
At Columbus Motor Company, shopping for a new vehicle isn't complicated. During the Drive and Discover event, they offer everyone their very best price, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. At Columbus Motor Company, your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealer, it's one low price, plain and simple, always. So if you're ready for a new or certified pre-owned vehicle, stop by Columbus Motor Company at 2806 23rd Street in Columbus, or visit them at onelowpricene.com. Columbus Motor Company, where you'll find one low price, plain and simple, always.
At My 15 City in Columbus, you'll find the perfect dress for any occasion. Weddings, proms, 15, sweet 16s, baptismal, and many more. They carry a wide variety of reasonably priced decorations, invitations, and tiaras for your special day. And with their tuxedo sales and rentals, there will be no need to stop at another shop. Needing entire party decorations set up? The friendly staff at My 15 City can help. Give them a call today at 606-7196 or visit them at 2476 32nd Avenue right here in Columbus.
Home Real Estate is an all-star team of realtors who are ready to work for you. They work tirelessly to sell your home or find the right home to suit your needs. Give any one of their agents a call today. Home Real Estate, serving Columbus and the surrounding areas. At Columbus Motor Company, shopping for a new vehicle isn't complicated. During the Drive and Discover event, they offer everyone their very best price, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. At Columbus Motor Company, your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealer, it's one low price, plain and simple, always. So if you're ready for a new or certified pre-owned vehicle, stop by Columbus Motor Company at 2806 23rd Street in Columbus, or visit them at onelowpricene.com. Columbus Motor Company, where you'll find one low price, plain and simple, always.
Hi, I'm Dee Hansen. I'm the Marketing Director, and we would like to introduce you to Bank of the Valley.
Community-minded, family-centered, measurable relationships. When it comes to your business, agriculture, and personal banking needs, trust Bank of the Valley.
We're obviously a locally owned bank, but we're also a bank that's very involved.
The most important thing is when you walk in the front door, everybody knows your first name. We are small town banking with all the modern conveniences.
Bank of the Valley in Bellwood, David City, Platte Center, and their brand new location in Columbus.
And welcome back to Wilderness Park. Overtime coming your way here in the B6 District Final between number 2 Scotus and number 4 Columbus High. 0-0 is your score, so we have 2 10-minute overtime periods to see if we can decide a winner. If not, we're going to a shootout. Brandon Axman alongside Grant Otten. The girls contest between Scotus and Columbus High also in overtime. Currently 1-1 is the score. And what would you expect in a district final?
You look at really 3, I would say, key opportunities is what made this game up, and they've all been missed goals. As far as you talk about, Scotus had 2 really strong attempts. Cole Harrington at the very beginning of the game knocked that one off the top of the crossbar, and then Nathan Oshtek in the second half came from the right side, kicked it across, and it just soared about an inch or 2 over top the crossbar, that attempt too. And then Pedraza, his shot on this right side in the second half also soared off over the top right, 90, was probably Columbus High's best attempt. So those 3 are really ones that could have potentially been goals, I think, or at least were the best attempts for goals, and those are the ones that stand out to me so far this game. Of course, they weren't able to capitalize it, and this is what soccer's all about, is capitalizing on opportunities. And so unless they can do that, we're heading to a shootout.
And here we go, 20 more minutes here on News Channel Nebraska.
Even coming out here, obviously, I mean, we're just 14 seconds into this thing, but still some good energy. We'll see if this stays throughout the rest of this overtime period, but a lot on the line here. You know, both teams going to go to sub-state, got those power points already, but this district title and this rivalry match really, I think, is more of the implication here. Obviously, if the sub-state's not a factor, but even if it was a factor, I think this rivalry would really override the emotions of these players on either team, and it's really driving the game here today as we have a guy down on the ground.
Gilberto Rodriguez goes down, and Jackson Kumpf showing some good sportsmanship, stretching out the foe. But that is something you have to weigh. Of course you want the district championship, and of course you want to have that pride, but with sub-state on Saturday, that's really the win or go home situation. And how all out do you go for a contest like this when what really matters is Saturday's game?
Yeah, especially since, like you and I mentioned, that they're going either way. And you know, I can absolutely, in this heat too, you got to wonder what the coaches are thinking. Of course, You know, is their mindset the same thing too, where they want to get that win over that Columbus High team? But either way, they're going to have to turn around on that Saturday, at least to get a day to rest. But a really taxing game in this heat going into overtime, and emotionally too.
And as Rodriguez is down, we're going to take a short break here on News Channel Nebraska. We'll be back with overtime here in the district final shortly.
Ever wonder where those mysterious spots and stains come from? Call your local Heaven's Best carpet and upholstery cleaning technician. You can enjoy life, and we'll clean it up.
Heaven's Best Carpet Cleaning, the cleanest carpet you'll ever see.
Heaven's Best. You've tried the rest, now try the best. Call George at 402-564-9060 or on the web at columbusne.heavensbest.com.
Welcome to the new Dr. Vinyl. We are your trusted source for all vinyl, leather, plastic, and fabric repair with over 20 years of proven and tested results. We provide mobile services and will come to you for most repairs. Help improve the trade-in value of your vehicle with help from Dr. Vinyl. Here at Dr. Vinyl, we are dedicated to providing quality service to the entire community. Dr. Vinyl, South Highway 30 and 81, Columbus, Nebraska.
And welcome back. Gilberto Rodriguez taken off the field in the Gator, but seems to be all right. Of course, cramps playing a part in this warmest contest of the season. We'll see if he gets back to action as the match is back to action 3 minutes in currently, and that's, of course, counting that injury time, which took up about 2 of those minutes.
You got to wonder what the implication of him being out, well, as he plays such a vital role in that midfield, and might give Scotus an opportunity if he's out to put the pressure on a little bit offensively.
Ball sent in. Harrington on the far side cannot quite handle it. He does keep it in before it's deflected away. Dodson with it for the Shamrocks. Caleb Oshtick has a shot from 22 yards out. Goes just wide.
We're talking before that break a little bit of, you know, how hard do you go in this overtime game? What is the implication going into sub-state? I think as far as from Columbus High's perspective too is, you know, such a confidence booster if you can beat a team in Scotus who is battle tested to the max, shown they can really beat anyone after they beat Westside. And no, I don't think there was really any question that they could defeat teams like that, but that was just a big mark for their season. And Columbus High, I'm sure there's questions as far as their players go, if, you know, with all this, I guess, hype around the Scotus team, are they at the same level as Scotus is? So this would be a big win for them. Of course, on the other end too, if Scotus, and you're just talking to Columbus High's perspective right now, if Scotus wins this one too, it's tough to beat a team 3 times. Of course, Scotus, if anybody could do it, but maybe set things up for a more interesting match as well if you talk about that playoff play, and if these two teams meet again.
Ball falls to Adabo, now Dodson for the Shamrocks. Boss sends the ball forward. Spencieri running on the far side. Melendez comes out. Melendez taking his time, scooping that one up.
And who knows if anybody would be excited to go into that overtime, because what a pressure-filled situation it is for these two goalies, in Melendez and Shohan. And not always a sign of how good the goalie is, because a lot of it is just guessing when you talk about trying to defend those PKs from that distance. It's a tough thing to do. And also a very nerve-wracking thing, as I mentioned. I've only, in my short soccer career as a goalie, only had a few situations where I got the shootout type match, and it was not a fun thing, very nerve-wracking.
Shamrocks looking to send this one into the box as they bring Shohan out. Take this from over half the field. Headed away by Moreno. Discoverers can't clear it. Cush now. Cush still with it. Shot from way out goes far over.
So pretty consistent here as we get into that 7th minute of overtime. Pretty consistent with what we saw those first 2 halves, and boy, if this thing isn't just set up to go the distance.
Adame and Brabeck checking back in for the Discoverers. Bolts now getting ready at the next dead ball for Scotus. Brabeck tries to release Ruiz. Harrington to Boss. Oshtick back to Boss, back to Nathan Oshtick. Chip to Boss. Solid defense by Esch.
Esch, another one of those guys we haven't talked about a ton. We tried to talk about all these guys because a lot of talented players on both sides of the ball, but Esch, another one of those guys that really does a great job back in that back line of defense.
There's Alec Volts checking in. Nathan Oshtick back up top for the attack as Cush goes back out. The second half, Coach Brzezinski rotating those players. And that spearheading strike and roll.
Unable to tame that thing down, and that one going well out of bounds, so Scotus ball before Marino. And then Marino's been doing a really good job this district play, and really towards the end of the season as a freshman. You never know how they're going to do the full length of the season.
Bolts has it on the far side, cuts inside, cleared away once more. Ball to Dodson. Lopez clears it out. Free kick awarded to the Discoverers.
Scotus continuing to get themselves into good position offensively. They just, once again reiterating, haven't been able to finish, and we kind of been making the same points throughout the match, but it's been kind of going the same way throughout the entirety of it.
Ruiz going against Pelster. Adame with it. Room on the far side. Adame finds it with Tarango.
Tapping into the end of that 10 minutes here, so roughly 2 minutes in that stoppage time. I think, or roughly around there when they took that little break there for that Gilberto Rodriguez injury of sorts. Nice job there by Kump.
Oshtick to Spenceri. Spenceri goes down. No whistle. Now Fultz with it as a shot across the box. Melendez gets his fingertips on it.
And boy, what a way to put the pressure on Melendez, barely saving that thing. As Fultz trying to get the cross post shot. And Scotus, as we get into the end of this first overtime half, with the shot here.
Harrington to take the corner. High ball in, headed out by the Discoverers. Luis Ruiz all by himself for Columbus High, going at 3 defenders. Brandenburg recovers, also Pelster sees the ball out. And Gilberto Rodriguez, who went down earlier in the first overtime, coming back in for Columbus High alongside Lopez. Or excuse me, Adabo.
Gotta imagine the whistle's gonna be going pretty soon here, so probably the last attempt of this first overtime half.
And there is the whistle, still scoreless. After 90 minutes of play, 10 more minutes to decide this one. If not, Shootout is just around the corner. Coming up next on News Channel Nebraska.
We're really excited at Central Community College. We have a variety of different programs we offer, from 2-year degrees to get people prepared for the workforce, as well as for the transfer programs to provide the first 2 years for successful transfer to our area universities. We do provide some small classes, and so the instructors and the students get to know each other and work together, really lifelong friends, whether it be athletics or student clubs and organizations. So we really try to be a community college. We're all here to help each other succeed.
Welcome to Ernst, one of the largest dealers in northeast Nebraska. With 8 acres of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. At the new Ernst, we're doing things differently. Tired of haggling? Tired of back and forth? Let us show you how easy it can be, and we never charge stock fees. Finding the vehicle you want at the best possible price is our priority. We know you can shop anytime or buy anywhere. Shop Ernst, East Highway 30 in Columbus.
Rest easy. State Farm agent Annette Alt is there for you. Call 402-564-8581 today for the service you deserve.
Columbus Community Hospital is leading the way in better technology for our patients. The Tournier Simplicity system is changing the lives of shoulder replacement patients across the country. Developed by a team including Columbus's own Dr. Ed Feringer, patients experience a bone-preserving procedure that is shorter and less invasive, meaning they get back to doing the things they love faster. To find out if Simplicity is right for you, go to www.columbushosp.org.
Would you like to watch this game from above the crowd? When it comes to finding you a new home, the team at Total Realty have a game plan that'll put you above the crowd. Whether you're buying or selling, they will answer your questions and provide an expert offense to put you in the lead during the whole process. The Total Realty team members are real people living in your same community. They have the same concerns as you do, and one might just live in your own neighborhood. Your RE/MAX team members are the hometown experts with the world of experience. They don't just want to sell you homes, they want to make you happy. At Total Realty today, log on to ColumbusTotalRealty.com or see their full list of homes from the Columbus app, available on iPhone and Android devices. The Heritage at Meridian Gardens offers assisted living and memory support at our premier community in Columbus. Our services are designed to easily adapt to your social, emotional, spiritual, and physical needs. In short, we love to see you smile. Ask how you can get on our risk-free waiting list. See more online at heritage-communities.com. Call us at 564-6300 or stop by 4515 38th Street in Columbus. The Heritage at Meridian Gardens, helping you to live better. Something to smile about, indeed.
At Bank First, see for yourself why it's a better way of banking. We offer an outstanding checking account, and best of all, it's free. If you need a loan, we provide loans of all types: commercial, ag, consumer, and even residential. We know your time is valuable. That's why we make decisions locally. We have all the latest banking technologies, including mobile deposit. Easily deposit checks using your smartphone. Stop in. Let Bank First show you a better way of banking.
And welcome back to Wilderness Park B6 District Final. 0-0 between number 2 Scotus and number 4 Columbus High. We are going to the final 10 minutes. Second overtime period just about to get underway. Grant, we're still scoreless, but somebody has to come out on top of this one.
Columbus Scotus, again, getting the most opportunities, you would say, offensively, or at least creating the most opportunities for themselves. And it sounds like we have a Scotus goal, I believe, on the girls' overtime side, and so that looks like they're going to be up 2-1 right now. that is going to be a big one for them. Columbus High, not much time to respond. As you mentioned earlier, they're about 5 minutes ahead of this game. From our calculations, of course, that's not official or anything, but congrats to the Shamrocks on getting a potential game winner there. But Columbus High's been playing good enough that, and by good enough, they're playing really well, but good enough that they haven't allowed Scotus to capitalize on those few opportunities that they have gotten, and Columbus High got a good opportunity as well. But another 10 minutes to play for one of these teams to try to put one in, otherwise we're going to shootout.
And the word from John Kipper, it was Ellie Stutzman scoring off of a corner in the second overtime. Or a Stutzman as a shot goes in from Columbus High.
And that's going to be a corner kick tipped off of Shohan. And you can see the athletic ability Shohan getting up to make sure that thing didn't go in. But a great opportunity for CHS is, timely enough, you mentioned Scotus scoring their overtime goal off of a corner kick. Columbus High is going to get one here.
Discovers, swing it in. Chance for a shot! And Shohan jumps once more and gets there as the Shamrocks tested early in this second period.
And a heart-stopping play for that Shamrock bench and fans, and as well as Coach Brzezinski, as that thing was right on the line there. And there you see that athletic ability in Shohan to jump over across one of his own players to hop on top of it and make sure they got that thing sent out of the goal.
Adame wins it back from Columbus High. Shohan will get to that one, no problem.
Shohan definitely more tested today than I think any match that we've broadcast. Although there hasn't been a ton of goals flying at him, he's been touching it quite a bit more than normal.
Harrington sends the through ball to Foltz. Foltz one-on-one. Solid defense by Arcos, what you'd expect from the captain.
That's about the best guy you want going up against Foltz in that type of one-on-one situation, because Foltz is just so deadly there.
Boss charging down this near side. He's around Adame. Boss into the box. Strong tackle by Arcos. And when you go down in the box, you have to make sure you get the ball first, which he did.
Arcos just continuing to throw that strong play in a clutch time, but Scotus with a chance.
Cross went in. Harrington shields it. Harrington with a shot. Blocked by the defender. Caleb Oshtick with it. And Oshtick goes down. Free kick for the Shamrocks.
So gonna be a short quarter essentially. And the official looking like he's basically warning Tarango, because you can see kind of slam the ball down there. Incredible job by the fullback or the back line of Columbus to prevent any goals there, but a good chance for Scotus here.
Harrington to send this one in. Chips it up, flying header from the back door. Can't get down on it. And once again, Discovers deal with the threat. Marino coming in as well as Pedroza for Columbus High.
You just got to credit again the defensive players on that Discoverers team on that last brutal assault, really, from Scotus, getting multiple shots off towards the goal, and every time he had a defender jumping in the way, deflecting it with their body. If you're going to say anything about these two teams, it's definitely not that they're lazy, because both of these guys playing hard.
Dame sends the ball forward. That'll roll out of bounds for a Shamrock throw. Spencieri coming back in for Scotus as we are getting closer and closer to the end of this one, entering the 7th minute of this overtime period.
At this point, it would be obviously exciting for one of these teams to put a goal in here with barely any time left. But I'm not going to say I wouldn't mind watching a shootout situation.
Pedroza with it for Columbus High. Dodson going against Adabo. Shamrocks quickly take the throw. Adabo wins it back. Adabo goes down and a free kick awarded to Columbus High.
And you can hear coach yelling Jorge for Jorge Pedraza to take this one.
This one is at an angle too.
Pedraza, one of those guys, one of those leading scorers with a very strong foot, so prime situation for Columbus High to potentially get a goal.
Junior takes the shot on curving. Shohan, though, being 6'3" and having a good vert, was not going to allow that one to get past.
And great hands, too. Not an easy thing to catch one of those, send it in the box like that. Just continuing to show why he is very well deserving of that shutout record right now for Scotus.
Scotus seeing if they could grab a goal before the end of regulation. Ball will go out for a goal kick.
There you can see Arcos helping up Cole Harrington, and that's a good thing you like to see. Especially in these really physical matchups, you like to see that there's still some respect between the two teams as it's getting physical and getting down to the wire here.
We're at full time on the girls' end. It appears the Shamrocks get the 2-1 victory on the girls' side, so they are the B6 district champs after an overtime victory. We'll see if that'll be the case for one of these two teams here, or if indeed we will need a shootout to decide things.
And we're ending with the 10 minutes here, so we got to be getting close to that shootout situation. We'll see. There's not much time left for these teams to get one into the back of the net.
Belster to Harrington. Brandenburg back to Comfort, clears it out.
Interesting to think about, too, when we get into these shootout situations and you talk about these two teams over the past however many years, you talk about 10 or so years when you're looking back at those matches, whenever they get into a shootout, it almost seems like the underdog team is able to rise up and get the victory. Now, will that be the case today if they do go into shootout? You know, obviously, who knows, but, you know, maybe something to think about if you really want to get in depth with the mindset of the players coming to the end here.
Nathan Ostick dropping it all the way back to Dodson. And nobody home for Scotus. Melendez lets it roll to his feet, and he is not going to rush to do anything with this one. And Melendez still taking his time as he is not pressured by Scotus, and the Discovers will gladly go to a shootout.
I can't imagine, you see the official looking at his watch there. I can't imagine there's much time left. According to our count, we're getting down there.
Give and go to Moreno. He has a shot on his left foot. It bounces in front. Chance for a shot, and great recovery by Jackson Kumpf. Harrington now sends the ball to Oshtik. He can't handle it. Now to Pedroza. Pedroza still with it. And that is the whistle. We are going to a shootout. Scoreless after regulation, scoreless after 2 overtime periods. And so a shootout will decide the district champion here between Scotus and Columbus High. Stay with us on News Channel Nebraska. All the action coming up next.
I'm from California. Cargill, they gave me an opportunity. It's a good insurance for me and my family. They pay good. You get to know a lot of people. You don't get bored doing your job.
Welcome to Tessendorf Chiropractic on Highway 30 in Columbus. We work with all area student athletes to ensure maximum performance and treat patients with neck, back, and joint pain. As an allied healthcare provider associated with the Columbus Community Hospital, we are committed to diagnose and treat your full body health. Come see why we are consistently voted the best of Columbus. Visit Tessendorf Chiropractic today so we can get you back on the court and back into life. Welcome to Tessendorf Chiropractic on Highway 30 in Columbus. We work with all area student athletes to ensure maximum performance and treat patients with neck, back, and joint pain. As an allied healthcare provider associated with the Columbus Community Hospital, we are committed to diagnose and treat your full body health. Come see why we are consistently voted the best of Columbus. Visit Tessendorf Chiropractic today so we can get you back on the court and back into life.
Home Real Estate is an all-star team of realtors who are ready to work for you. They work tirelessly to sell your home or find the right home to suit your needs. Give any one of their agents a call today. Home Real Estate, serving Columbus and the surrounding areas.
Hi, I'm Dee Hansen. I'm the Marketing Director, and we would like to introduce you to Bank of the Valley.
Community-minded, family-centered, measurable relationships. When it comes to your business, agriculture, and personal banking needs, trust Bank of the Valley.
We really focus on the people that we serve. Relationships are the most important thing to us, and because we're smaller, we're flexible enough and we can make those quick decisions to meet your needs.
Bank of the Valley in Bellwood, David City, Platte Center, and their brand new location in Columbus.
Welcome to the new Dr. Vinyl. We are your trusted source for all vinyl, leather, plastic, and fabric repair with over 20 years of proven and tested results. We provide mobile services and will come to you for most repairs. Help improve the trade-in value of your vehicle with help from Dr. Vinyl. Here at Dr. Vinyl, we are dedicated to providing quality service to the entire community. Dr. Vinyl, South Highway 30 and 81, Columbus, Nebraska.
And welcome back, as it is going to take a shootout to decide the victor here between number 2 Scotus and number 4 Columbus High. Wouldn't have it any other way here in the B6 District Final.
Definitely going to be an exciting finish here and a very suiting finish, as these two teams have been playing extremely tough, and now it's going to rely on these goal kickers and these goalies to try and put this thing away for either team. Shohan and Melendez, a tough task ahead of them, and a very nerve-wracking task, as it's really about a 50-50 shot that you're going to dive in the right direction, and not only do that, but do it athletically enough to get the block on wherever the ball's going. So it'll be interesting. Both teams with very strong, accurate goal kickers, and so it's going to be a tough match. We'll see how this one finishes out and how it plays out, and we'll be interesting to see who they send up first.
Shohan, hard to argue he's not the more experienced goalkeeper. 2 state championships as a part of his name. He's the all-time shutout leader in goalkeeping history for Scotus, has a 90% save percentage and 57 saves on the year. As for Columbus High's Daniel Melendez, he has 102 saves, 60% save percentage coming into this contest, as the Shamrocks will be kicking first, and it'll be Nathan Oshtick, the one to do it. So here we go. Oshtick takes a crack right down the middle.
So Scotus will start off on a high note. Melendez, like we mentioned, jumping in the wrong direction. If he had dived the other way, he probably would have got a stop pretty easy. But nice job by Oshtick to put that one in the back.
Gilberto Rodriguez up first for the Discoverers. He has 8 goals this season. Rodriguez goes left off the post and in. Shohan shows right, but if you hit it that well,
yeah, you couldn't have put that in any better position off of that post. Obviously not able to get it any farther to the left without it going in, but just does a great job of hugging that left side and making it very difficult for Shohan. Valiant effort, though, for Shohan.
Here comes Jake Boss. 15 goals, 9 assists this season. Leading goal scorer for the Shamrocks. Boss goes right and easily finishes that one.
See Melendez kind of stepping or shifting his weight there to the right side, and he didn't really move, but obviously knew he just wasn't going to be able to get to it. As soon as he got off balance there, was unable, or would have been unable to recover.
Fellow captain Luis Arcos, the defenseman, 2 goals, 3 assists. Arcos buries it like a striker.
And a big-time play by another big-time veteran here. Some strong kicks so far to these first 4.
So we go to another defensive player. Marcus Dodson had 2 goals on his birthday in the semifinal. 3 goals on the season. He goes left and Melendez gets the save.
And now, of course, that's not the end of things here, but that's definitely a big step in Columbus High's direction. We'll see if Shohan can match that block in Melendez, but a huge one from Melendez to dive out and knock that thing out with his right hand. That one thing was on the edge. If he would have got it maybe a little bit farther to the left, it might have snuck in, but Melendez got some good reach on that.
Chance here for Jorge Pedroza. He goes left. And the Discoverers have an advantage, burying all 3 of their first kicks. The Shamrocks knocked down 2 of their 3. Scotus now having to play catch-up.
And no one better to do that than Alec Foltz, who is stepping up, and one of the better shooters on this Scotus team, which is not an easy title to have.
Foltz goes right. Melendez gets a fingertip on it, but it finds the back of the net nonetheless.
And that kick just too strong for Melendez to stop. There's some good spin on that thing by Foltz. You can see him, he was pretty excited to knock that thing in. And again, Melendez guessed right, but still just such a strong kick, was unable to get the stop. It's just so tough from that close.
Tyler Strong looking to keep the advantage. Can Shohan even things here? Strong goes, Shohan can't reach it. Columbus High up 4-3 after 4 penalty kicks by both teams. Shamrocks must convert on this one.
Melendez, a stop here, like you said, to win it all, and there are a lot of fans here, so this place either way is going to get loud at the end of this one.
Arrington has to find the back of the net. Otherwise, Columbus High will be district champs. Arrington goes right. Melendez gets a touch on it, but goes past him. The Scotus Shamrocks still alive. Now, of course, the Discoverers control their own fate, and it's going to be Jesus Adame with a chance to win it.
Again, not an easy task, but will the Discoverers go perfect here in this overtime shootout and go 5 for 5 to win? We will see here shortly.
Adame, 1 goal, 2 assists for the district final. He goes high and wide. Adame cannot find the back of the net. We're now going 1 for 1. PKs continue.
And Adame upset after that one, a tough one. If he could have got that thing down about a foot, that probably would have went in that upper 90. We'll see if Melendez can step up once again or if Scotus will take it. It looks like Cole Oshtek.
Caleb Oshtek goes right at Melendez and another save for the junior.
And Ash going out a little prematurely to celebrate.
Thought they had won. That is not the case yet.
Henrique Adabo, though, going to try to give Ash another chance to run out in celebration on this one.
Same chance for the Discoverers. Adabo controlling Columbus High's destiny here. Win, and it's in, and the Discoverers take down top second-ranked Scotus. And our district champions, Henrique Adabo, finds the back of the net, and Columbus High wins in a penalty shootout.
And what an exciting win for the Discoverers here. And now this is not the end of things. Hoping we get to see these two teams later on here in postseason play. But what a big confidence booster. And this thing has just set up for a beautiful matchup in the postseason, going one-on-one with each other. The next time these two come together, if they do, it's going to be an exciting one. But Columbus High going into Sub-State on a high note. And Scotus, you better believe, is going to come with a lot of fire in that Sub-State as they're going to try and get their way into that state championship matchup.
And here is that final shot by Adabo, taking down the 2-time defending state champs. Calmly finishes in the right side of the net as he gets swarmed by his teammates.
So the Scotus girls going 2-1 to win their side of the district championship matchup against Columbus High, and the Columbus boys in a shootout in an exciting fashion. We couldn't have asked for a better day to come out here and broadcast and get a beautifully tight, exciting matchup like this one.
So the Discoverers get the pride, they get the district title. Of course, it all matters is what happens on Saturday. Both these teams will be hosting their sub-state match with a win, and they are in alongside with several local girls teams. The Scotus girls will be here as well on Saturday. John Kipper will be getting highlights of all those matches. We'll be keeping you posted on how all of sub-state shakes out. This was one heck of a broadcast, Grant, to end our Wilderness Park debut season of soccer on. It's been a pleasure out here and a great time following all of these local teams.
I've had a blast. I know you have a blast. It started out pretty cold, pretty brutal when we watched these guys for the first portion of the season in that Columbus tournament, but it has just been a wonderful time watching soccer and some great teams too. So we got to thank all these coaches and players for providing some good teams to watch, and best of luck moving into that sub-state. As you mentioned, 5 of the 6 area teams, and of course the Schuyler boys too, talking outside of Columbus, going on, and should make for some very exciting soccer to watch.
He's Grant Otten, producer Aaron Trout, terrific camera operators Ethan Hess, Kim Mendoza, as well as Devin Axmit. I am Brandon Axmit. Thank you so much for watching. Columbus High 1-0 victors in the district final on News Channel Nebraska.